Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you to the channel. I want to talk about this story. This story comes out of a place called Baltimore, Maryland. And man, I cannot tell you how many stories we've done out of Baltimore. It is absolutely insane that I think actually Baltimore is probably on pace with Ohio, like Cuyahoga County, Cleveland. It's pretty close. It's a pretty close deal where you have this much child abuse going on. But I'm going to warn you guys, this story has some details that are going to turn your stomach a little bit. I'm definitely going to say some things that are not going to sit well with your sensibilities. So if you can't handle that, I totally understand if you need to exit this video. But I'm going to say what I need to say. Y'all been listening to me for long enough. You should kind of know about what I'm going to say. So don't be surprised, because I have thoughts and opinions. And if y'all look at these babies right here, initially they had their faces hidden. Let me go back real quick. The children that you just saw on my screen are the children that are involved in this story. These children are deceased. They are at no more risk of being hurt or harmed by anybody. So why the media would hide their face at this point is beyond me. But let's talk about this woman that you see on my screen right here, who looks like somebody took a pellet gun and shot it multiple times in the center of her face. Why her face looks like she got slammed into the concrete is beyond me. This woman that you see on my screen from Maryland has been charged with child abuse after she was caught driving around the streets of Baltimore with decomposing bodies of her niece, who was 7 years old, and her nephew, who was 5 years old, and she had been doing this for months. I want you guys to absorb that for a moment. Think about, first of all, you'd have to ask yourself, where do we even start with this? Let's start with the fact of, how do we get here? How do these children end up in this woman's possession, who is not the mother of these children? She is the aunt, which means what? That means she took on these children from her sister. So where in the hell is the biological mother? Huh? Where's the biological father? Where is DCF, Child Protective Services, when you need them? Shout out to Tommy, by the way. This is also before she told the cops that she'll be making her big news debut. Y'all got to hear this. This is insane. That creature that y'all just saw on my screen right here, her name is Nicole Michelle Johnson. She's 33 years old. Let me be disrespectful just for a moment. Look at this woman's eyes and tell me that this woman does not look slower than a bottle of molasses. Tell me this woman in the face does not look slower than a turtle race. Tell me that this woman does not look slower than a car on 4 flats. Tell me that this woman's face does not look slower than global warming. It looks like something is absolutely wrong with her. And you would have to ask yourself, first of all, why is DJ Just Jay bringing up all of this stuff? Why does DJ Just Jay have on his Babies for Benefits t-shirt? Does anybody have any idea why I might have this t-shirt on that says Babies for Benefits? Anybody have any idea? Oh, that's right. Because maybe I could be accusing this woman of only taking on her sister's children, which we're going to get to the sister here in a moment, only took these children for the benefits that she could collect from these children. Clearly, she didn't love them. And let me explain and give y'all some more details about this. This woman who was 33 years old, who her skin literally looks like it's about a good 62 years old, yes, with all those deep craters in her face. Her face looks like the moon's surface. 33 years old. She is accused of stuffing the the body of 7-year-old Joshlyn, Joshlyn, Joshlyn Johnson, 7 years old, stuffed this baby's body in a suitcase in the trunk of the back of her car in May of 2020 after the child died. Let me let that marinate just for a moment. I want y'all to think about something, because there's a reason why I'm talking about babies for benefits, and we'll get to it. I don't want to jump the gun. She is accused of stuffing a 7-year-old's body in a suitcase in the trunk of her car back in May of 2020. So some of y'all might be asking, well, how did we get to where we are today? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me give you some more details. Joshlyn's body was allegedly rotting in the car for a year when her 5-year-old brother, Larry Darnell O'Neill, also died May of this year. Just that sentence alone is enough to have nightmares about, just the thought of it. Let me repeat it and let me say it again, because I want to make sure that we drive this point home. Hate using driving and this woman in conjunction with each other. Joshlyn's body was rotting in the trunk of her car for an entire 12 months when her 5-year-old brother, Larry Darnell O'Neill, also died this month. Let me point a couple things out. The lady that you see right there on the left-hand side of that particular picture is the biological mother of those children. Why? Here's what y'all got to do. Tommy always talks about this. The most important question you can ask is why? Why? Here's what you would have to ask. Why am I bringing these things up? Why am I bringing up the biological mother? The biological mother didn't kill her kids. Or did she? How did these children even get in the auntie's care in the first place, right? How does your own flesh and blood DNA child, this is my baby, I brought this kid into this world at my own volition, my body, my choice. I brought these children into this world, but yet these children end up with my sister, right? How do you not investigate, look, or how do you not know that your child has been missing for an entire 12 months? Not 12 minutes, not 12 hours, not 12 days, not 12 weeks. 12 months, an entire year. That's 1 out of 2 of your children. Here's what you would also have to ask. I don't care what you were going through. Would a mother not make a phone call even if you were in jail? Because I thought about that too. I did. I ain't gonna lie. But I thought about this. When did they stop having phones in jail? Unfortunately, I actually know some people that are actually doing life in prison. Just being real transparent with you guys. An old friend of mine did some very bad stuff, ended up in jail for life. They at least have access to make phone calls. You didn't ask about your kid. You didn't see your kid. What about the biological father? What about the cousins, the family members, the community? Anybody that was living around them, anybody who knows her, have seen these kids or been around these kids, nobody saw anything and said anything. You had 2 kids within 24 months. Remember I told y'all about that statistic. Usually when a woman has a baby, they usually have a baby within 24 months. Well, that would be the case because this little girl is 7, the boy is 5, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the girl is 7, the boy is 5. How did nobody know that one of the children were missing for an entire 12 months? Did anybody say anything? Is that not odd? These are school-age children at this point. At least pre-K, kindergarten and pre-K. Johnson allegedly then shoved Larry's corpse, which is the little boy, that's the 5-year-old, shoved his corpse into a plastic tote bag and placed him into the trunk next to the remains of his older sister. How about this? Nobody smelled anything? Have y'all ever smelled death before? Have you ever smelled a dead, rotting body in less than 12 months? It doesn't matter if you wrap that body in anything, you're going to smell it. The cold part about this story is that when the police pulled her over, they said the smell was overwhelming. I'll get to that point here in a minute. So if the police pulled over the car and said that the smell was overwhelming, how did nobody else in Baltimore notice this? Do y'all catch what I'm saying? It makes me question Baltimore, that small city as a whole. It makes me question the people. It makes me question, do people even care about children at all? Care about murders at all? Care about things that are wrong? Like, are you not going to say anything? You're not going to report it? You're not going to inquire about it, make a phone call? Hey, something over here smells like burning ass. Can y'all come check it out, please? Nothing? But I digress. The 33-year-old was the siblings' aunt and had been trusted by their mother to care for them since 2019. 2 years. Boy, I am going to say some things about the mom. I know y'all going to be mad at me. Police documents state that the two children were severely malnourished at the time of their deaths. Let me say that again. The police documents, not my words, say that the children were severely malnourished at the time of their death, meaning that they were starved. So whatever money or whatever food stamps, Section 8, whatever it is that this aunt was getting, you think she was spending it and using it on the children? Or was she spending it on her hair, her nails, going to the club, getting her drink on, looking like this picture right here with all this makeup? You'd have to ask yourself. People talking about, well, maybe she was broke. Maybe she was disenfranchised. If you ask me, nobody is that disenfranchised if you got money to dress up and you got money for makeup, you got money to get your hair, nails, toes did, and be looking on fleek. You can't be that damn broke if you got money for bull crap like that, which does not matter. The only thing you need to be is just clean and groomed. Let's get back to the story. The children were severely malnourished at the time of their deaths, and they weighed less than half of the weight of healthier children in their age. Less than half. Bookmark that, please, in your mind. We'll come back to it. Police made the discovery at around 11 p.m. Wednesday when they pulled Johnson over for a traffic stop on Eastern Boulevard near Wagner's Lane in Essex County. The officer said Johnson's car had a fake temporary tag and registration. So you go through all the trouble of forfeiting a tag and registration, but you just won't go get a real one? It's not that expensive. And if it is that expensive, then you shouldn't be driving. And if you can't be driving, then you probably shouldn't be a parent or a caretaker to children. If you're that broke, you should not be caring for children. Does everybody understand where I'm coming from? Or am I saying something that's going to hurt some of y'all little feelings? I know most of the AFC, everybody understands, but some people don't. To be honest with you guys, I think my message is very simple. It's very clear. And I don't think it's that harsh. If you are that broke, you should not be a parent. And this is definitely a parent by choice because her body didn't physically give birth to these children. She didn't lay down and take penis from the man that made those children. She didn't get none of that pleasure. She didn't carry those children for 9 months. The biological mother did that and left her kids. We'll get to that here in a moment. Johnson was issued a citation. Excuse me, I skipped a part. Not only was she driving with a fake tag and fake registration, she was also driving with no driver's license, according to charging documents obtained by the news. Johnson was issued a citation to appear in court and was told her car would be towed. Charging documents stated. On hearing this, Johnson allegedly told the cops, "It doesn't matter. I won't be here in 5 days." I wonder what she meant by that. She said, "I won't be here in 5 days." She also added, "Y'all are going to see me on the news making my big debut." I wish somebody would talk about, this is mental illness. I wish somebody would say it. We have to start holding people accountable. If mental illness is really that crazy, then people who have mental illnesses that would put their children in harm's way should not be allowed to be around children. They should be by themselves and they should get themselves taken care of. I think that makes a lot of sense, right? It's kind of like if I have a broken leg, should I go out and go try to play basketball with a broken leg, or should I try to go get surgery to fix my broken leg, heal, go through physical therapy, and then go play basketball? I think that's a pretty good analogy. Should you play ball with a broken leg or go get physical therapy and get your leg healed first? She said, I'm about to be on the news making my big debut. It was upon the officer opening and clearing the trunk of the car so that it would be told that they noticed the smell of decomposing bodies coming from some bags. The police said they then found the two siblings decomposing corpses in the car, Jocelyn in a suitcase and Larry inside of a plastic tote bag. Johnson allegedly tried to run. She tried to run from the police. She tried to flee the scene when the first body was discovered, but she was detained by the police. A witness who filmed the heavy presence of the scene of the stop told the news that he had no idea what was going on at the time when he was recording it and what he was looking at. He said there was a pile of garbage next to the car and police around it, he said, adding that it was heartbreaking once he figured out what actually happened. Johnson was taken into custody where she allegedly told police that she had been driving around with Jocelyn's body in the car of her trunk since May of 2020, which would actually make more than a year. Johnson allegedly told the cops that the little girl had died that month in May of this year, 2021, when they were staying at the Regal Inn on Pulaski Highway in Rosedale. A broke caretaker staying in a hotel. Y'all know how I feel about that. If you're so broke that you have to stay in a hotel, then you should not be a parent. Your children or whoever children you're trying to care for need to go elsewhere. They should not be with you. She was staying at the Regal Inn. Let me see if I can look that up. The Regal Inn on Pulaski Highway. Let me see if I can look this hotel up real quick. Oh, goodness. Oh, my gosh. Woo. And this is in Baltimore, Maryland, y'all. $52 a night. It has a 1.5 rating out of 5 stars. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. $50 a night, a 1.5, 1.5 stars. And I'm sure that's probably generous. And children were living there and she didn't feed the... Don't they at least got continental breakfast? Don't most hotels, even some of the shithole hotels, don't most of them at least have cereal and milk at the front or some type of granola bars or something? According to charging documents, Johnson says she became angry with the 7-year-old and hit the child several times, causing her to strike her head on the ground. She beat the kid up. She claimed Jocelyn fell to the floor and hit her head, so she stuffed her body in a suitcase in the car, according to documents. So this slow-ass broad didn't even call 911, didn't take her to the hospital. You're just like, it's a normal thought process. Okay, well, I accidentally killed the kid, so let's stuff the kid in the trunk of the car? I have trouble composing myself right now. 2 months ago, Larry told her he was tired, lay down to sleep, and never woke up, according to what she told police, which I think that's bullcrap. She allegedly also said that she noticed the 5-year-old had a wound on his left leg, but provided no further detail of the cause of the injury. The aunt said that she then placed her nephew's body in a tote bag next to the suitcase containing her niece. The remains of Jocelyn and Larry were taken to the office of Chief Medical Examiner, where they will determine a cause of death. Due to the level of decomposition, authorities said it will take some time to determine the exact circumstances that led to the children's death, so it is not clear if there's evidence to support Johnson's version of the events. Jocelyn weighed just 18 pounds at her autopsy. Less than half of the 50-pound weight of an average healthy 7-year-old girl. I know toddlers that weigh more than 18 pounds. Seven years old, 18 pounds. Larry weighed 21 pounds, down from the average 40-pound weight for a healthy 5-year-old boy. 21 pounds. If you added both of their weights up together, they wouldn't even weigh enough for the average weight. Put both of their weights together, they wouldn't even be more than the average weight. The child's mother, let me see if I can get her up on my screen. Let's talk about her. Her name is Dachelle Johnson. We're going to do a little research on her. Dachelle, D-A-C-H-E-L-L-E, Johnson, Dachelle Johnson, left her children in her sister's care back in 2019. The shell told investigators that she had tried multiple times to contact her sister since, but had not been able to find her or her children. It remained unclear why the mother hadn't reached out to authorities. It remains unclear why the mother did not reach out to authorities. Bookmark that, because I think the mother needs to get about 25 years in prison for abandoning her children with somebody who was not a good caretaker and caused the children to die. Baltimore County Police Chief Melissa Hyatt described the children's death as unspeakable and vowed to get justice for Jocelyn and Larry. Let me skip through just a little bit of this. Johnson was booked with multiple charges, including first-degree murder, first-degree child abuse, First-degree child abuse that resulted in the death of a child under the age of 13, neglect, disposal of bodies, and failure to report a death. She waived her first appearance in Baltimore County Court District Court Friday, where she was scheduled to appear for a bail review hearing, and the 33-year-old is now being held with zero bail. I don't think she should get a bail. I don't think she should get jail. I think she should get hell. She should get a life sentence in hell next to Satan himself. Let me give you guys the fair usage. Let me let you guys listen to the news videos. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. Gonna warn you guys, the news is gonna be just as graphic, so brace yourselves. If y'all would, please click that thumbs up. Share this stream and let more people know that we're talking about this story, because Larry and Jocelyn deserve to have their story heard, okay? Here we go. Let's get it.
Well, tonight we are learning disturbing new information in a case where two children were found dead in the trunk of a car following a traffic stop in Baltimore County. Their aunt is now facing charges, and court documents reveal gruesome details. WJZ is live at District Court in Towson. Avajoy Burnett has those details, and we do want to warn you, they are graphic. Avajoy.
Denise, good afternoon to you. Well, Baltimore County Police are saying this all started from a traffic stop when the suspect was speeding. They say when they pulled that person over, they smelled an odor, and that's when they found the two kids in the trunk. 33-year-old Nicole Johnson faces several charges, including 2 counts of child abuse that resulted in the death of 2 children under 13. Baltimore County Police say an officer pulled Johnson over late Wednesday night, and when the officer told her that the car had to be towed because the tags were fake, the officer detected the unmistakable odor of decomposition. At one point, the officer even noticed that the clear bag contained maggots inside. According to the department, after repeated requests from the officer, Johnson removed the blanket.
Sorry, I forgot to tell you guys that the bags had maggots in it. The bags had maggots.
At one point, the officer even noticed that the clear bag contained maggots inside. According to the department, after repeated requests from the officer, Johnson removed the blanket, exposing the decomposing body of a young child. And after a search, officers found a plastic bag that was tied up. The bag was opened, revealing another decomposing body of a young child. Police say those kids were her 7-year-old niece, Jocelyn Johnson, and her 5-year-old nephew, Larry O'Neill. Johnson told police she was taking care of the kids because their mother wasn't able to. But the mom told police she tried to get her kids back, and in March of 2021, she arranged...
Let's hear that again.
Of a young child. Police say those kids were her 7-year-old niece, Jocelyn Johnson, and her 5-year-old nephew, Larry O'Neill. Johnson told police she was taking care of the kids because their mother wasn't able to.
Wasn't taking care of the kids because the mother wasn't able to, and you'd have to ask yourself, because the mom looked pretty good and healthy, like she'd been eating quite well, dumped her kids off. So what does she even have the kids for? Where are the father or fathers to the kids? Who was collecting the child support? Who was collecting the Section 8? Who was collecting the food stamps? Who was collecting the government benefits, the stimulus checks? Did we even think about that? Also, I don't want to make y'all mad, so I'm sorry if y'all get mad at this. Y'all are not going to believe this. The mom created a GoFundMe page. The biological mother, I repeat, who did not take care of these kids, opened up a GoFundMe. How many of you guys are surprised to hear that? Is that y'all first time hearing about that detail? Bookmark it. We'll come back to it.
But the mom told police she tried to get her kids back, and in March of 2021, she arranged to have the children returned, but the defendant never showed. According to the documents, the little girl may have been dead since last year. The aunt told police that in May of 2020, when they were staying at an inn off Pulaski Highway, she hit the little girl, and the girl fell and hit her head. Johnson described placing her niece.
Y'all see how dirty that property is?
The aunt told.
Look at that. Look at how dirty that hotel is. Can y'all see that? That's why it has 1.5 stars. A 1.5 star rating. If your hotel has less than 3 stars, it needs to be shut down. How about that? How about we start that as a rule? I think we need to vote on that. If your hotel can't even make 3 stars, that should be like the bare minimum. I think they need to be torn down and demolished. That makes no sense that somebody, probably from some other country, is allowed to generate money off of those nasty crap hotels and never fix them up. Ridiculous.
Police that in May of 2020, when they were staying at an inn off Pulaski Highway, she hit the little girl, and the girl fell and hit her head. Johnson described placing her niece inside a suitcase and carrying her around in a car for many months. And according to the documents, Johnson also told police that the little boy had an injury about 2 months ago, and he never woke up, and that she placed his deceased body in the plastic tote and kept him in the trunk with a sister. Johnson remains in jail with no bond. And according to those court documents, when the autopsy was done, that 7-year-old girl weighed 18 pounds, the 5-year-old boy weighed 21 pounds. The official cause of death has not been revealed just yet.
Well, turning to another top story today, and almost every day, we are learning new disturbing details in a case where 2 children were found dead in a car trunk in Baltimore County.
And their aunt now charged in this case. We want to warn you, these details in this story, they are extremely graphic.
Avajoy Burnett is live outside the courthouse in Towson with more on what the suspect actually told police. Avajoy.
Well, Baltimore County Police say this all started from a traffic stop when the defendant was speeding. The officer apparently smelled an odor, and that's when they found the bodies of the 2 children in the trunk. 33-year-old Nicole Johnson faces several charges after her 7-year-old niece and 5-year-old nephew were found dead inside her car trunk. Baltimore County Police say an officer pulled Johnson over late Wednesday night in Essex. And when the officer told her the car had to be towed because the tags were fake, the officer detected the unmistakable odor of decomposition. At one point, the officer even noticed that the clear bag contained maggots inside. According to the department, after repeated requests from the officer, Johnson removed the blanket, exposing the decomposing body of a young child who was inside a suitcase. Police say they later found the body of another child in a bag. Johnson told police she was taking care care of the kids because their mother wasn't able to. But the mom told police she tried to get her kids back, and in March of 2021, she arranged to have the children returned, but the defendant never showed up. According to the documents, the little girl may have been dead since May of last year when they were staying at this inn off Pulaski Highway. Police say the defendant admitted she hit the little girl and she fell and hit her head. The address for the aunt is listed in this Northeast Baltimore community. One neighbor held back tears.
Honestly, I pray for the young lady because you have to be in a dark place to put babies in a trunk and to drive around with them.
Now, according to the court documents, when the autopsy was done, 7-year-old Jocelyn Johnson weighed 18 pounds and her brother, 5-year-old Larry O'Neill, weighed 21 pounds. The official cause of death has not been determined. Live tonight.
It's only like a 5-second video.
It was Dan Barsnick's curiosity that turned a quick cell phone recording.
It's pretty crazy. It's kind of like heartbreaking, man.
This is the guy that was driving by. He didn't know what he was recording, but he actually drove past when the police were pulling her out of the car along with the dead children's bodies. Police had it surrounded, so he didn't get a good look, but he was recording. He drove by it.
Into a brief look.
There was like a pile of almost like garbage and stuff next to it, and they were completely surrounded.
Into something even more shocking.
This was a gruesome discovery.
It happened just after 11 Wednesday night on Eastern Boulevard near Wagner's Lane in Essex. That's where police say a routine traffic stop came up with the discovery of 2 young children, a boy and girl, 7-year-old Jocelyn Johnson and 5-year-old Larry O'Neill, dead inside the car.
Something suspicious about this vehicle that piqued the interest of our patrol officers. Exactly what unfolded, I'm not at liberty to share at this point, only because this does remain an active and open investigation.
Police took the driver into custody as officers continue to push for answers in this early investigation.
Our detectives have a great deal of evidence they're going through at this point. As I mentioned, the relationship between these children and the driver, that remains part of this investigation.
The suspect now with looming charges.
It's definitely a relief. It just sucks that it still happened.
Leaving a father in shock of the 5 seconds he has saved on his phone.
It like takes your breath away because I got 2 kids. I got a 2- and a 3-year-old right now, so it's like, it's crazy, man. It's a tragic loss of life.
And a medical examiner will determine just how the kids died as the suspect tonight remains in police custody.
A routine traffic stop ended in a horrible revelation for police in Baltimore County. Officers found 2 dead children inside of a car in Essex. WMER2 News' Ray Strickland has the details.
Here we go.
Out of all of the cars that drive up and down this busy street in Essex, there was one in particular last night Baltimore County Police say stood out from the rest.
A gruesome discovery for police in Essex who found 2 dead children inside a car on Eastern Boulevard near Wagner's Lane.
It's incomprehensible. Emotionally, it's heart-wrenching.
The children were found around 11 o'clock p.m. Wednesday night. They've been identified as Jocelyn Johnson and 5-year-old Larry O'Neill.
There were certain details about this vehicle that made patrol officers suspicious last night that initiated this vehicle being stopped.
A spokesperson for the police department says the driver was taken into custody. She also says detectives are working to find out if the driver and the children were related.
Our homicide detectives have been investigating how exactly 2 deceased bodies of children ended up in this vehicle and what the circumstances are surrounding their deaths.
It's almost unbelievable.
Sebastian Bewig was getting dinner at a nearby diner when we told him about the incident. As a father, he says what happened is horrifying.
You have 2 dead children.
Craig Davis.
This case is disturbing on so many levels. The defendant bragged to police that the case would give her notoriety, but then she also denied knowing the kids were in their trunk, claiming she thought the odor was a rat on her engine.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna let this play out real quick and then we're gonna wrap up these news videos. This is insane.
cop in Essex out here.
And fake tags. They advise her to report to district court.
Let's back it up right about here.
3-year-old Nicole Johnson. She told police the body of her 7-year-old niece had been in the trunk since May 2020, and she placed her 5-year-old brother next to her 2 months ago. Former neighbors are grief-stricken and appalled. According to charging documents, during the initial traffic stop, police learned Johnson had no license, no insurance, and fake tags. They advised her to report to district court within 5 days. She stated, "It don't matter. I won't be here in 5 days, and y'all gonna see me on the news. Y'all gonna see the news making my big debut."
I'm stopping the news right there. I'm taking this off. That really didn't sit well with me. Just to add insult to injury, I think this woman needs, she needs the chair. She don't even need life in prison. Let me show y'all something else real quick. For those who are wondering if there was a GoFundMe, well, actually there was, and I said was a GoFundMe. It says a GoFundMe had originally been set up by the family. I'm going to say the biological mother. That's what I'm going to say. That's coming from me. The biological mother set up a GoFundMe, but a message on the page requested no more donations due to someone agreeing to handle funeral costs for free. Remember, my t-shirt says babies for benefits, and I think that not only that's the only reason that the biological mother had these kids, but that's definitely the only reason that the so-called aunt had these kids as well. Like I said, man, this is a really, really messed up story. We're hoping to get some more updates and some more information, and maybe we can get some people to talk about this story. And it's people knew something was wrong and they just didn't say anything, okay? But like I said, we'll bring you guys some more to this story, okay? Thank you so much.